Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is our NXT review. I gotta say, a really fun episode of NXT tonight as we barrel down the road to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. We had rivalries continued in the North American Championship with Adam Cole and Ricochet. Velveteen Dream and EC3 got some humorous development. I don't know. I've got quite a bit to say about that. Mae Young Classic got some love as Tainara Conti and Vanessa Bourne fought for the final spot. Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black look to settle their issues. And we've got two television debuts tonight. Marcel Bartel and the man who allows you to bask in his glory, Keith Lee. So a lot to cover on tonight's episode. Ashton, what do you think about it?
Yeah, man, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. We got, like you said, two big NXT TV debuts going against each other in what was almost definitely the match of the night as far as I'm concerned. We ended up having a total of 5 matches tonight, which I was actually very surprised by and actually pretty happy about as well. We got 2 women's matches and 3 men's matches, and 2 of those men's matches I actually thought were pretty damn solid. And one of the women's matches was really good too. So, yeah, man, I enjoyed the show tonight. I enjoyed seeing Keith Lee in NXT for the first time, and I enjoyed seeing Marcel Bartel for the first time, period, because I hadn't seen any of his work prior to WWE. He really gives off like a ZSJ vibe to me.
Yeah, dude, I gotta be honest, all the love in the world, both to Keith Lee and the TWitWoW Pimp Jarveris. I know the focus was on Keith Lee. I was more excited for Marcel's debut because here's the thing. We've already seen Keith Lee extensively in like PWG and elsewhere. Marcel, when I YouTubed him originally and I tried like finding internet clips, very scarce. And the stuff that is out there, I found to be in poor quality. So getting to see him in good quality, like up close like this, was awesome. I can't wait for him to have an opponent where the showcase really is about him and he could show like the full range of his style. Because even the little taste that we got, I'm like, man, this guy, I'm already a fan. So I'll have more to say about it when we get to the match. But yeah, man, do you have any other preliminary remarks you want to make before we get into the show?
No, sir. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. You know, yeah, there were things that I really didn't care too much for, but nothing like Heat of the Night or anything like that. I still don't really care for the Street Profits, so that's more of a personal thing. So as far as like objective, like nitpicks or whatever,
you know what though, dude? I'll tell you what. As far as nitpicks go, I don't have a problem with the Street Profits as performers or as an act. I do have a problem with the segment they were in tonight, and it's really a production problem. Their theme song was playing way too loud. I legitimately couldn't understand most of what they were saying because of how loud the theme was.
Ah, see, I didn't know that. And the only reason I'm not going to rag on them was that they actually got right. They even worked into their segment, like, talking trash about TM61, and then one of them said, oh, wait, they're not known as TM61 anymore. They're the Mighty. And then they kind of ragged on that name. So I'm like, well, at least they're addressing them properly. So I
mean, you say they ragged on that, and I'm sure they did, but I could barely understand. I knew that they addressed them as TM61 at first, and then I caught them referring to them and kind of referring to the name change to the Mighty, and they said it weird. They were like, the Mighty. But I barely understand. I didn't hear anything that they said to make fun of the Mighty. I was really struggling to hear these guys over their own theme song playing in the background.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable. I thought I made them out okay, but again, it was just the usual Street Profit kind of shtick. So that's really all I have to complain about. Do you have any other like Heats and Internet picks outside of like the production issue?
No, man. It was a really solid episode. I don't have any real like actual problems with anything that NXT staff would have had anything to do with. I don't have any problems with any of the, performers making really horrible decisions or anything like that. I mean, I've got some negative things to say about a performer specifically, but we'll get to that much later in the review. And that's not like Heat of the Night or nitpick or anything like that worthy, because it's a performer that's been in the business for a very, very short amount of time. So we'll get around to that later. But for now, yeah, man, that's it. Let's get into this.
Then let us get into our NXT review. And I know we recapped the events of last week, you know, Ciampa winning the title and then, you know, his whole celebration and then Black coming out to interrupt that and, you know, all that stuff. You guys can refer to our review last week to really get in-depth coverage of that. But as far as this product goes, we actually open up with Amber Nova versus Nikki Cross. What do you think of this opening women's match, Ashton?
Well, first of all, can I just say I've actually been aware of Amber Nova on the indies for a little while now, and I think she is an absolutely perfect fit for WWE. I don't think she's actually signed yet, but WWE would definitely be better off to be signing her because she is. I mean, really, you can just look at her. Like, she's got one of the best physiques I've ever seen as far as female wrestlers go. Like, she is absolutely shredded to the gill. She's probably got like single-digit % body fat. She is incredibly fit, in incredible shape, and she can wrestle. I mean, she's not fucking Io Shirai in the ring or anything, but she can definitely go with. I would put her above the 50th percentile in the ring as far as WWE's female roster goes, and that even extends to the main roster. Honestly, I would put her above the 50th percentile. So yeah, man, I think Amber Nova is definitely a talent that WWE should be trying to get their claws into if they haven't already. I don't think she's signed yet, but she definitely should be. If you're WWE, they should definitely be trying to get her. Nikki was fine, you know, she did her Nikki stuff.
Yeah, I liked Amber Nova. I think she has a good look. Everything she did in there came off really nice to me. You know, no complaints there. I don't know if we're going to see her again. If so, then of course, obviously, you and I both will be able to offer more substantive commentary. Nikki Cross was Nikki Cross, pretty much what you said. She wins with the Purge. If anything, I was pleasantly surprised that this match was more competitive than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I was pretty happy that it went for a decent amount of time, and this was the one of the two women's matches that I said was actually pretty solid. I enjoyed this match. I'd say the worst part of the match for me was Nikki Cross's comeback, and that's not anything against her winning. It's more just the way she does a comeback with like the over-the-top crazy shit, which I know that's her gimmick, but I just still don't like it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. Honestly, she's in a weird place to me because I don't know if maybe she'll be like a post SummerSlam call up or what, but just the idea that she's still here is a bit off-putting because she's by herself.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see what happens with that. But yeah, I've got really nothing else to say about this. So if you want to move on, we can.
All right. I wonder if like, I don't know. I wonder if they'll like put Sanity in a feud with some faction that has 3 guys and a female. And at the pay-per-view, Nikki will be like the equalizer. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. But yeah, man, that's all I've got for Amber Nova versus Nikki Cross. We do find out that tonight we're going to be getting Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano. We're going to get to experience the dream. And up next, we're getting Ricochet in action. And then before we get to that, we also get a Keith Lee vignette, which is great to see. They actually put that up, I want to say yesterday on WWE's YouTube channel, and it is a really well done vignette. He gets his shit in, talking about he is limitless, bask in my glory, all that great stuff. He does some inspirational speaking. And then when we get back to the arena, Ricochet's music hits, and I'll let you take it from here, brother.
Well, we see that we don't see Ricochet, at least not in the way we expected. We see the Undisputed Era led by Adam Cole, baby! And yes. Ricochet lying sprawled on the floor, weak and pathetic. And Adam Cole pretty much setting Ricochet straight that he's not a coward. He's Adam Cole. He's the North American champion. And more or less like, how dare Ricochet like step up to him and treat him with such disrespect. And at TakeOver Brooklyn, after he's done just completely annihilating him. I know Adam Cole used a specific term. Do you remember the term he used? Because I know it wasn't annihilate. He said he was going to do something to Ricochet, and it's escaping me. But yeah.
Oh, let me see. I have it in mangle. I'll mangle you in Brooklyn.
That's it. After I've mangled you, that, you know, in reference to him being North American champion, will be undisputed. So, you know, they just stand over Ricochet. Adam Cole cuts his promo, but of course, I feel imperfect. You know, I don't feel like I'm worthy to speak about the exploits of one Adam Cole, baby. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Ash. And what did you think about Adam Cole's promo tonight?
I mean, what is there to say? He came out, proved to Ricochet that he is superior. They dragged Ricochet's near lifeless body out to his own theme song. So again, Adam Cole I mean, it takes a certain amount of power to be able to withstand the entrance of somebody else's theme song, and Adam Cole did it with ease. And yeah, they dragged Ricochet out. Adam Cole said his piece, and that was about that, man. There's not really a lot to say. Adam Cole, I mean, what even is there to add? He is the man. He knows he's the man. He will prove that he is the man in Brooklyn. I don't really see what else there is to say.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue with somebody that's right. So we can just move on and talk about what happened next.
Well, what happened next was a little, I don't know. This is one of those things where I don't really even know how I feel about it yet, because it happened and then we moved on so quickly that I didn't really have time to kind of digest it. We had an interview with Vanessa Bourne, and the big thing for me here is that she's calling herself The Vision now. And she also basically has kind of this very conceited, almost narcissistic gimmick where she's so obsessed with her own self-image and herself and her look that she is going out of her way not only to say that she deserves to be in the Mae Young Classic, but also that she doesn't want to deprive the world of her being in the Mae Young Classic. And of course, she's also very annoyed by the cameraman. So I think Vanessa is kind of an interesting case for NXT, where she's not there yet, but she is definitely closer to getting there than any of the other Full Sail trainees, aside from maybe Bianca, as far as I'm concerned.
You know what, Ashton, I'm really glad you said that, man, because hearing her promo, I feel there's a confidence in her delivery, which I like. There's a voice there, is how I'll put it. There's clearly a voice there that she's searching for. And like you, I don't know if she's touched on it yet, but she's close. I also noticed she had a new theme song tonight. I don't really know how I feel about that because I loved her old theme. To me, it was like had a very memorable quality to it. But, you know, clearly they're still trying with her. And if I can give NXT credit for anything, it's that they really don't believe very rarely in giving up on a project. Because, I mean, not to jump the gun, but we found out next week, like, Kairi Sane's taking on Aaliyah, who still seems to be trying to make it work, right? So kudos to NXT and kudos to Vanessa for putting in the work, because I think you're only going to get as much out of it as you put into it. And I do think there's something there. I'll say this. I think there's something more there with Vanessa Bourne's than Lacey Evans. You know, so I hope that Vanessa's really able to figure it all out. And honestly, in hindsight, I wonder if maybe she would have been the better fit for the final spot in the Mae Young Classic. But again, we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah, I definitely am with you there. I feel like it's funny too, because she was in the first Mae Young Classic. Vanessa was in the first Mae Young Classic. Granted, she lost her first match, but still, I feel like I almost feel like she has made more progress from last year to this year than a few of the women that are in the NYC. Like, you can look at Reina Gonzalez, Kavita Devi. You know, there are a few women that are in the NYC this year that I feel like Vanessa has made more progress than, and yet she isn't going to be in it. And it's not even a spoiler to say that Tainara won the match, because we already know, based on the Parade of Champions we saw earlier today, that Tainara is going to be in the Mae Young Classic. It's just a matter of how we got there.
Right. Yeah, man, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I guess we'll see how Tainara does in the tournament, but really looking how Vanessa's grown in confidence and stuff, I feel like this is experience that could have. And see, that's another thing, too. When you look at how much each person's progressed, I look at the Mae Young Classic, especially for people that aren't as developed as, say, like an EO, as a great learning experience, especially even if you've already had it once. You might even get more out of it the second time, right? It's kind of like watching a movie and picking out things that you never saw the first time.
Yeah.
And with Vanessa, to me, she's shown more growth than Tainara. So working with people that are better than her, I feel like with her growth rate, she probably would have taken more from that than Tainara, I think is kind of my concern.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of missed the boat. But yeah, solid promo. Really enjoying the narcissistic gimmick. We'll see where it goes from here. And now we can move on.
The other unfortunate thing about Vanessa is that she forgot to do the cheer for me spot in her match.
Dude, I was keeping an ear out for it, dude. I was keeping an ear. So, like, you had something good. We anticipated, and then, like, it's not to be found. So, yeah, hits and misses, I guess.
All right, so up next was our second match of the night. It was going to be the third, but Ricochet never ended up having a match. So our second match of the night, I got to tell you, man, it's Adrian Jaoud versus Cassius Ohno, and Jaoud was kind of impressive. I didn't think that he was like exceptional, but I was definitely impressed for him being. This is the first time I've ever seen him in the ring, and it's definitely one of his first matches because I'm pretty sure he wasn't a wrestler before coming to the Performance Center. So he's been training under the Performance Center. He was doing some cool capoeira stuff early on. He showed some very impressive strength, being able to deadlift Ono twice, once for a German and then the other time for almost like a backdrop driver. Yeah, man, I was impressed by Jaoud. He's got an amazing look. He's definitely got some charisma to him. He's an athletic guy and he's powerful. I dig him as a prospect. But of course, Ono does end up winning with a rolling elbow. Ono looked good in this match too. I thought that both of these guys were pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly agree with you about that. Jaoud was, I thought, he looked better than I thought he would. You know, I kind of like him more than Cesar Bononi, to be honest.
No, see, I actually kind of dig both those guys, man. I'm not trying to say that either one of them should get pushed to the moon or anything, but as prospects, I dig them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that they're kind of doing this reboot with Ono in the sense like he's got to climb back up the ladder. And you're even seeing that in the match time because the last match was like mere seconds, whereas Joe actually got a fight out of Ono. So yeah, solid match. Ono does win with his discus elbow to the back of the head. And, you know, Ono advances. But yeah, I'm curious. We'll see more of Joe in the future and, you know, what he can bring. And I think Cesar's still with the company. I don't remember ever him like getting released or anything like that. So we'll see what they do with him. But yeah, that's all I can say about that. So we can move on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, man. If you are a Brazilian WWE fan and you want to pick somebody to get behind, unfortunately, it's probably really you've got to put all your weight behind Tainara because Adrian here, he's got some definite upside, but he's also already 36 years old.
Damn, that's always a bit rough, man. I don't know.
Like if I would have read that he was like 31 or 32, like Cesar Bononi is 32. So they're both in their 30s, but I feel like Cesar definitely has kind of more room for growth than Adrian. Tainara, though, 23. So if you're going to get behind someone, maybe in 3 or 4 years, Tainara will be the one to do it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, absolutely, man. Like, that's the beauty of youth is the upside, the raw potential that you kind of smooth out the edges and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, what came after this, brother?
This is where things get weird, John. This is where things get weird because after Jaoud versus Ono, we got Velveteen Dream and EC3. I don't even know what to call this segment. EC3 went to Velveteen Dream's, and I'm quoting Dream here, facilities. And Dream wanted him to sit down, and they ended up walking then, and EC3 said that he wanted a match at Brooklyn, and then he went over all of the different ways that you could say the names of the two of them having a match, and eventually Dream was angry that he got disrespected, and he dropped his glasses, and EC3 went down to pick him up, and Velveteen Dream was going to push him into the pool, but EC3 caught him in a fireman's carry and then tossed him into the pool. And Dream kind of panicked a little bit, and then EC3 was like, it's only 3 feet deep, and that was it, and EC3 walked away. This is fucking weird, man.
You know what, Ashton? I don't know if this is a point where I'm going to be alone and you and I diverge, but, like, I realized in this one thing how this feud can actually get my interest because, you know, to me, I'm not a big EC3 fan. I don't think he has any kind of a discernible personality, but there was so much hamminess here. And like one of my favorite moments that made me chuckle and was like, I was bewildered in a good way was when the Dream was like, oh, sit down. Oh, would you like to go for a walk? Sure. Like seconds later. And I actually said to my screen, like, you know, it's good when I'm actually engaging and I know nobody can hear me. I'm like, but you just sat down. Like what is this? And I feel like this is going to work. And again, this may just be one man's opinion. But if you turn up the cheese to 11 and you commit to this and you do stuff like this, because the gimmicks really are in their own ways over the top. And I feel like this is the type of feud when one guy really doesn't have much going for him, at least in my opinion, in EC3, where that's how you compensate. You do segments like this that are almost like, I don't want to say Lucha Underground-esque, but you get what I'm trying to articulate.
Right, like full-blown cinematics.
Yeah, where like you can put these personalities on display. You can show the quirks of these personalities. And yeah, like I thought it was hilarious, you know, Dream trying to shove EC3 in the pool. EC3 drops him in there. Dream's gonna be like, oh, I can't swim, and he's like, oh, it's not even 3PT. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're both so over the top in the best possible ways, like in this environment. That's what I want to see more of. Like, that's how Dream is going to continue to have these really memorable feuds, is if they all have different tones. With Aleister Black, it was all about, well, here's this imposing guy that's clearly going to do things. I want him to acknowledge me. Ricochet, definitely felt there were sexual undertones there, but, it was like anything you could do, I could do better. With these guys, it's like, okay, we have two massive egos. One ego has to envelop the other. And I even have an idea about how you can raise the stakes of this matchup, but we'll talk about that more later in the show. But for now, just looking at this for what it was, I enjoyed it, man. I really got to give props to them. I got to be fair. I enjoyed the work from both of these guys as characters. And I think that's really how this is going to work. Like, keep the focus on the characters, and then the match will probably be decent. But, at least give me some memorable vignettes, to go with this. So that was kind of my takeaway from this.
Yeah, I definitely, I guess I'm not as much on the fence as you, but that might just be because this isn't my type of humor. I'm just not into like the so bad it's good kind of humor. And I think that you and I have already kind of established that back during the whole, broken Matt Hardy universe back in TNA.
Right.
So, I mean, I definitely wasn't a fan of this. I am not a fan of EC3, and Velveteen Dream is a great character, but I am not super excited about the match because I don't think either one of these guys is a particularly good in-ring worker.
Right. And that's understandable, man.
Like, this is going to sound really stupid to some people, but I feel like as far as in-ring goes, EC3 has to carry this match.
Yeah, and I could understand why you'd come away feeling that way. Absolutely. So I'm just hoping for the best with these guys. But again, I think where they can compensate is with these character-driven performances. So I would like to see more of this. So we'll see.
All right. So I guess we can move on then, right?
Absolutely.
After this, we had actually a third match, our third match of the night, and in my eyes, the best match of the night. Marcel Barthel making his NXT TV debut versus and also debuting Limitless Keith Lee.
All right, Ashton, I want to get I don't even want to call it negativity, but I guess the more pointed questions out of the way first. This way we could just focus on giving both these guys their due. Do you think it was smart to have two debuting talents in the same match rather than giving each guy their own individual spotlight? Like, how do you feel about that tactic?
You know what? I'm normally not a fan of this, but let me put it this way. I don't even know if this is going to be like a poignant thing with you. I don't know if this is going to resonate with you, but I know that there are people in our chat that it will. This match to me worked despite its booking. I feel like this is kind of like in the NFL when an offensive coordinator has a scheme that requires elite players at certain positions. And if you don't have those elite players at those positions, then the offense sucks ass. But if you do have those elite players at those positions, then the offense is really good. But at the same time, if you just ran an offense that was more player friendly and it didn't require those elite players, then they would probably still be better than it is now because it wouldn't be as taxing on them. Well, that's kind of what happened here. We have a situation where both of these guys are new and then have to kind of work on getting over individually during the match. And you also need Marcel Barthel not only to worry about getting himself over, but he also needs to worry about putting over Keith Lee. And Keith Lee needs to worry about not over getting himself over, but also he needs to worry about making sure that Marcel gets the heat that he needs. So really, you've got two talents that the crowd doesn't know how to react to. And I feel like they were set up to fail in that sense, but they're both so fucking good that it didn't matter and they made up for it.
All right. Well, I guess based on how you answered, I'm going to ask you my follow-up question. I'll just kind of put that to the side.
Well, I'm curious what it was going to be.
I was going to ask you if you felt like Keith Lee was presented well here, taking as much offense as he did rather than it being a squash. But it's clear that you seem to be okay with it, though.
Yeah, and well, I'll tell you what, though, the reason why I'm okay with it is because of who his opponent was. Because if they would have had this match with him and Barthel, and it would have just been like an exhibition match where Keith Lee just gets to show his shit off and destroy Barthel, I would have been pissed because I would have wanted to see more of Barthel. But because Barthel got to show that cerebral style that he uses, and he got to kind of pick Keith Lee apart at certain points in this match. I feel like that did more for both guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. In fact, I'm actually really glad that like this is your line of thought, because one thought to me was like how giving Keith Lee seemed to be to Bartel, like in his debut. I was really happy about that, because he could have like stiffed him. He really could have made like the stuff look like crap. But both guys really took care of each other. And, you know, I think that's smart, because they realize, hey, it's your debut. It's my debut. Let's go out. Let's maximize our minutes, as the great JR says. And, you know, let's put on a decent match and really give these fans something to talk about. And I will say again, I have been really curious about Marcel for a long time, because he is with Ring Conf, right? And, you know, so young, really young competitor, and didn't really get to see much footage of him. And Keith Lee making it to this stage, I mean, the dude's a beast, can clearly work a mic, has presence just physically. I mean, you're talking about a guy that could really be that next big star if you permit him to be. And they go and they really have like a great match. Like, I'll tell you, one of my favorite spots, like on Marcel's side, working as the heel, that European style like throat thrust that he did, like the cross arm throat thrust early on in the match to kind of like, you know, go at the airways of Keith Lee. And then the spot where Keith has the leg of Marcel, and Marcel tries to use the other leg to kind of get out of it. Like we've seen that escape before, but Keith Lee's so powerful. He's just looking at Marcel, and it just has that stopping power. And Keith Lee's like 9, you know, because that's Marcel's thing, is being like 9, you know, which is German for no. But then he gets kicked off. I like that Marcel was able to hang in there with Keith Lee, because really to me, at the end of the day, what matters is you get the W, you know, and Keith Lee does do that with what I'm going to call like a, you know, Death Valley jackhammer. But yeah, Marcel looked really good in this, man, and I can't wait when he's with an opponent of comparable size, because then after how he handled Keith Lee, in my mind, I'm going to think Marcel's going to win that match. So yeah, I think both guys really did look good here.
You called it a fireman. What did
I called it a Death Valley jackhammer, because that's how it really came off to me.
Because I have it listed as a fireman's carry power slam.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I know
if you think about like how Randy Orton or like Ciampa or Ishii or like those guys, how they do the power slam, where it's like the spinning thing.
Right.
It's like that out of a fireman's carry.
Right. I guess I just went with jackhammer because like the form kind of looked like that to me, and Morrow even used the term.
Yeah, Morrow called it a jackhammer straight up.
Yeah. So how many notes did you take for this match though? Because I know this was big with two debuts.
Oh no, only 2 lines. This was a good match, but I only have 2 lines. I have a really fun match. Bartel is an excellent heel. Keith got over instantly when he did his leapfrog and drop kick, freaky athleticism, lots of chops. Lee picks up the win with fireman's carry, power slam. Great showing from both guys. Bright futures for both. Very excited about Lee as a face and Bartel as a heel.
Yeah, I think you sum me up.
And I didn't put this in my notes, but I'm going to say it out loud. I think that Marcel Bartel might be NXT champion by this time next year.
Damn, that's a bold prediction.
I'm going all in, and by this time I mean like Brooklyn next year. I'm saying that because I think he might be the one to dethrone Gargano after he wins it.
Yeah, that's very interesting, man. Very interesting prediction. And
maybe this time next year is a little bit of a stretch, but I'd say by the end of 2019, I would be, yeah, man. I think he's got that factor where you could push him to the moon as a dickhead heel, and he would be so loathed by the NXT universe that it would be perfect for a world title push.
Oh, dude. I mean, look, you know I live for the technical wrestlers and stuff, and knowing that Marcel is like with Ring Conf and just his style, I can't wait to see more of this dude. And I will say, though, shifting to Keith Lee, and I remembered that there was something I wanted to talk about. I did want to bring up who I think Keith Lee's first feud is going to be, and I wanted us to kind of unpack that. Now, I don't think this is a spoiler.
Okay, so before you get to that, I just wanted to throw one more thing out there.
Of course.
I did already say I think Marcel is going to be NXT champion, that he's going to be the one that takes the title off Gargano, and I think that'll happen sometime next year. I also think Keith Lee, I don't think he's going to even be in the NXT title picture. I think he's going to go after the North American Championship. And I think that he will also win that title by the end of 2019. So I'm going full blown. I think both guys that debuted tonight will be champion of some kind in NXT by the end of 2019. So there's that big, bold prediction.
Damn. All right. You rounded that out. And hey, Keith Lee is already taking big steps because he wins this match. And we might have already gotten a peek into his next feud here. Now, I don't regard this as a spoiler because this is publicly on social media. I want to share with you guys, well, really 2 tweets from Lars Sullivan. The first one really about him from his representative, which I forget his formal name, but he goes by the initials WC. Lars Sullivan would like to say that while he's been missing from NXT television, the master plan is still coming to fruition. Lars is excited.
William Christensen, by the way.
William Christensen. Lars is excited to show the entire community what it is. He will leave you all mesmerized, galvanized, and enigmatized. Thank you, William Christensen. And then the tweet that I want you guys to prick your ears up for here. Lars would like to say that he was not impressed with his performance. Lars hates to be negative, but he would like to point out that this is NXT, not the minor leagues. This Lee character just isn't ready yet. Thank you.
So he specifically said this Lee character, like explicitly referring to Keith Lee.
Yes, exactly.
That's huge. Obviously it's a hard sell if you're going to try and tell me that they're going to have a match on Brooklyn because the Brooklyn card already feels pretty full, but they could easily have a match at War Games in November.
Yeah, dude, let me ask you just straight up, how do you feel about this feud? Do you think it'll be a good Haas fight or?
That's kind of my concern is I'm a little bit, no, because the thing is, Lars is already kind of an established monster in NXT, and Keith Lee is similar in size to Lars, but Keith Lee's going to be able to do lucha shit against Lars. We're going to see Keith Lee Hurricane Ranas against Lars, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for this. And really, let me ask you, this is a follow-up question. At least to me, maybe again, this is the point where you and I diverge. I feel like Lars is going to come back as something different with this whole William Christensen. And
I'm almost expecting him to come back wearing like a 3-piece suit and glasses. How about you?
It's something like that, man.
Like maybe he'll go full blown Jekyll and Hyde, where he is William Christensen with the suit and the glasses, and then like he'll go behind a door or something and come out with nothing else and just like as Lars, and like it could be like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. I don't know.
Dude, I love that. Wait, I just gotta press pause and say real quick, I love that idea. I love that. I just feel like there's a chance that William Christensen is like an alter ego for Lars. Yeah, I didn't even think about that possibility, dude, but I fucking love it so much because.
And the thing is, dude, here's my thing too, is even if that's not where they go, if they actually legitimately do have a manager for Lars, I'm down for that too, either way.
Oh, dude, absolutely. It makes me so happy that like we're finally in an age, and I'd like us to do that with other wrestling tropes, but I guess one trope at a time, where like we're really experimenting with the monster character and we're giving the definition more elasticity. Like they're not all the same. And I like that whatever they're brewing with Lars.
Dude, it just hit me. When's the last time we saw Lars?
Had to be the takeover against Aleister Black.
Dude, he got hit with 3 black masses. What if that was like such a traumatic experience that it gave him DID?
That would be insane, especially because we saw Split recently, and that's really on my mind right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would be insanity.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this Lars or, William Christensen or both, they're already on the right track because they blocked Riddick Moss on Twitter. So, like, I'm already down with it. Because, Riddick Moss, about the Keith Lee tweet, he replied below, Lars would like to say what? Freak no speak good? Or are you the moron, William? And then below that, Riddick replied with a screen cap of the block. Piece of shit, got exactly what he deserved. But yeah, I'm excited, dude. I'm really happy to see NXT venturing out into this territory with Lars rather than him just being like, oh, what a behemoth, whatever. And really,
oh, dude.
Yeah.
Lars got his jaw broken.
I heard it was kayfabe.
Dude, no, but that's good though. That's what I'm saying. What if the Lars Sullivan that we're used to, that we see that's going to be doing the wrestling, what if he has to wear some kind of like jaw brace And then when we see William Christensen, it's the same character, like it's the same performer. It's still the guy that played still like Dylan Mile, but it's him as the William Christensen character, like with the suit and the glasses. But then that's why Lars had to hire somebody to talk for him, because he has his jaw wired shut or some kind of brace on his face or something.
So it would almost be like a more traumatic experience than what Cody endured to become undashing. Like maybe he doesn't even like need like the jaw device.
Yeah, like he doesn't need it. He doesn't physically need it, but Lars is like so traumatized by it that he thinks that he's going to need it forever. And William Christensen is like his alter ego that can speak for him.
I can ride with that. I can ride. I mean, hell yeah, do it.
I hate when we do this though, because we get ourselves so pumped up for this really cool, interesting, new, unique idea in wrestling, and they never do it the way we want it.
No, but I'm going to try and keep an open mind, because there's definitely possibility here. I love your idea of the Jekyll and Hyde thing, though, because that is so promising. But we'll see. But yeah, I to bring it full circle, though, I am looking forward to Lars working with Keith Lee down the road. That should be really good. Plus, it's a great feud for Lars to return to, because he's been out of the public eye for so long, save for social media, that I think when he comes back, honestly, I would like him to come back and hit a freak accident on Keith Lee. Like that fucking visual to remind everybody, hey, I'm back. Like that'd be really cool for him. And yeah, I'm down with this feud, man. I'm friends with it. So can't wait for it. What came after this?
After this was Street Talking with the Street Profits, and they make fun of the Mighty, and that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got as well. Let's move on.
All right, up next, fourth match of the night, Vanessa Bourne, Tainara Conti, and I was so disappointed in this match. I wanted it to be good. I was hoping it would be good. I was rooting for these women. I wanted it to be, like, I wanted to see how far Tainara has come since last time we saw her in the NYC, and Vanessa is okay, but she's not going to carry anyone, and they both kind of wanted to be heels, but then Tainara started selling like a face, and then she went way too far and oversold and legitimately acted like she was going to cry multiple times, and it was just cringy and bad, and I feel bad for Vanessa, and I also kind of feel bad for Tainara if she's not getting that better. I just was so disappointed by this. I wanted it to be good, man. I really did.
I mean, I didn't hate on it, but I was really underwhelmed. Like, I was excited to see Tainara, especially knowing she got this final spot of what is a stacked tournament.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, like, I don't want anybody to conflate my words. Like, sometimes I am careful with what I say on here because, like, I know how I can be misinterpreted. I'm not saying Vanessa is fantastic by any means.
Right.
But I do think she's better than Tainara.
Right. It's like I said, like, Vanessa is decent, but she can't carry anyone.
Exactly. And, like, you know, you could have put Vanessa in there, had her lose in the first round, at most the second round. And, you know, I think it would have been a great experience for her and stuff like that. And, you know, it obviously still applies to Tainara because she's how old, Ashton? You said 23?
Yeah, she's 20. She's a lot younger than Vanessa. I think Vanessa is 28. Vanessa is actually 30. So Vanessa's already 30. Tainara is 23, but still, I mean, I think they've been wrestling for about the same amount of time. So the fact that Vanessa has picked up on it as much faster as she has, I mean, you've got to think she's on more of a trajectory to be main roster ready within the next year or two. Whereas Tainara, I even said earlier, 4 or 5 years down the line at least.
Yeah. So I guess trying to take the positive out of it, you know, every experience is a learning experience when you're as young as Conti is. And you
know what? I actually made a mistake. I thought that they'd been in the business for around the same amount of time. I was wrong. Tainara has only been wrestling for about 18 months now. So she's actually very, very new to wrestling. Vanessa has been wrestling since basically, you know, she's been wrestling for 2.5 years now. So she, her debut was December 30th of 2015. So really, you know, the 2 full years of 2016 and 2017, and then all of 2018 so far as well.
All right. Well, yeah.
Oh, and she actually had training prior to WWE. She trained with Rikishi and Gangrel at Knox Pro Entertainment and made her debut in the ring under the name Danielle, which is actually her shoot first name, in March. So March 2016 was her first match. And Tainata's first match was April 2017. So for Vanessa, she's got a little over a year more experience than Tainata, but it felt like she had at least that much more experience because Tainata was a real weak point here.
Yeah. So again, I reiterate, especially given how much time she's been in the industry and how young she is, every experience is a learning experience when you're that green. Yeah. And clearly, dude, here's the crazy thing too. NXT, or I guess WWE at large, must really want her to succeed because one, that Brazilian market we talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like she's Brazilian, which is a huge market that's very faithful to people from their country that have success outside of it. And I mean, look at her; she's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, and she's been in both Mae Young Classics now because she was in it last year too.
Well, yeah, well Vanessa was in last year's as well.
Yeah. But just the idea that Tainara is the one that's going to be in 2 Mae Young Classics now really shows, I think, that she's like the bigger investment, I guess.
I mean, yeah, she's definitely the bigger investment. And really, you wouldn't even have to tell me anything else other than the age because she's 23, Vanessa's 30. So, like, you could just tell me that, and I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah. But still, man, this match was rough. I did not enjoy this match at all.
The one real moment of discomfort was when she was in the corner and like I saw her cry face and I'm like, what the fuck is even happening? Because at first I was scared that like something went awry in the match and she was genuinely hurt and she couldn't hold the tears back. Like I'm like, oh, did she get injured?
And yeah, but then like she did the exact same cry face when Vanessa had her in like the Dragon Sleeper too.
Right. And I'm just like, oh, that's you may want to dial that back a bit.
Exactly. Yeah, that I literally have in my notes that Tainata's facial expressions and in-ring acting are both flat out bad.
Yeah. I hope they get better. You know how I am. Like, I know there are people that I flat out hate. Looking at you, Kona Reeves. But I try and give everybody a chance. I try and keep an open mind. I am going to keep an open mind with Tainara. Hopefully she gets better. But in the meantime, she does win with, I guess, like some kind of a slam out of, Vanessa had like a crucifix. Tainara kind of spins her around.
Yeah, and that ending sequence was so awkward too because Vanessa was going for something and then, or no, I think Tainara was going for something. And Vanessa like slapped her, but the slap made no sound. So it was like a super anticlimactic slap. And then, yeah, Tainara just hit like a weird, I'm going to lift you up and then slam you down kind of slam. And I don't even know what to call it. And that was it. That was just it. The match was over.
All right. Well, yeah, that was that match. And what did we get after this?
Oh, let's see. A recap of Kyrie, Candace, Shayna last week. And then we get a whole bunch. Dude, next week's show is kind of nuts. I don't know if you saw this or not, but.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be getting Kyrie versus Aaliyah, as well as Tyler Bate versus Roderick Strong.
Oh, Tyler Bate versus Roderick, yes.
And we're also going to be getting the Velveteen Dream next week and Street Profits versus the Mighty next week as well. So next week's show is already loaded.
And that's the go-home show, right, next week?
Yeah, it sure is.
That's a stacked go-home show, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, what happened after that? We got our main event, right?
Yeah, we saw Cain Velasquez in the crowd, and then we got to Aleister Black versus Gargano, which, I mean, it was fast paced to start, but it didn't take too long for Ciampa to show up and cause a double DQ, and we got the big brawl, and then eventually Regal came out and made the triple threat, which isn't going to be a triple threat now because Aleister Black is shoot injured. He had to get groin surgery last week.
Well, since you already broached that, I'm just going to start at point one. Two performers are great even when they're working at a fast pace and only get like a few minutes, you still want more and you're still into what they're doing. Black strikes are just beautiful to witness. Gargano's fire, just amazing. I'm really glad to see that we're getting like great baby faces in wrestling again all around. Like I'm really loving it. And Ciampa's interference like makes perfect sense. They had a great, brawl, all three of them. All three guys going after each other. I like that when Gargano had a choice between going after Aleister Black or going after Ciampa, he went after Ciampa just to, again, solidify that this hatred is so real. Regal making the announcement, we expected it. But since you did mention, again, the groin surgery, I know I talked to you before we went live about what I would do to fix this. And the way I see it, guys, NXT is two options. And I will I will say me and Ashton thoroughly discussed the first, so I'll give him credit for this too, because we definitely had, it was more conversational. But you could straight up do Gargano and Ciampa, and I know Ashton, you said like you'd be cool with that if Ciampa won dirty, thus giving Gargano still something to, aspire for and stuff like that. For me, I'd be cool with that, but NXT wanted to do a triple threat in the first place to preserve Gargano Ciampa for a bigger stage as the rubber match. And if they still wanted to preserve it, my proposal is this. I say you take EC3 versus Velveteen Dream at TakeOver, and then you make it so that the winner gets that third spot vacated by Black later in the night. Now, I know the downside is you have a guy competing twice, and on a TakeOver, when everybody's competing for those spots, it almost seems a bit weird. Like, wow, this guy gets 2 spots on a TakeOver. But this is a unique circumstance that NXT has never really had to deal with. And plus, for me, and I'm not saying this is my official prediction because you guys got to wait for that next week. If Velveteen would win, because I think the crowd is more open to him, maybe again I'm wrong, maybe EC3 is more over. I still feel like Dream's more over. The idea that he'd be in the main event of a TakeOver competing for the NXT Championship, that crowd would be ravenous, and you'd still have a means of protecting Gargano because I would not want him eating the pin. So that's what I would do. What I'm curious from you, since there's really not much to say about the match or the segment because, just putting pieces together. And I don't know if this is a spoiler for premium predictions, so if you don't want to answer, that's fine. Would you prefer if they just did a straight-up one-on-one match, or do you think they should find a substitute for Black to still make it a triple threat, since that's what was kind of promised here? How would
I don't know, man. It's tough because I feel like just randomly deciding, we're going to have a third guy that might not have necessarily earned it quite as much as Alistair originally had earned it. I feel like that would definitely not be ideal, but I don't know, man. It's a really difficult situation for them. I almost feel like their best option, and I hate to even say this, but I feel like their best option would be to just have a dusty finish where they have it seem like Gargano wins, but then the referees, he's like, no, you didn't win. Ciampa won. And we get like that whole situation where we get the big fake out where it's like, oh, Johnny won. But then in the end, Ciampa still ends up, it turns out that he actually won. And the whole Johnny winning thing was just a fake out. Like that to me is the ideal situation here.
Right. Jonathan Hare was talking about an NXT exclusive. I did not see it. Let me go on their YouTube channel real quick. Maybe that will shed some light. I don't know. Aleister Black is found unconscious in the parking lot.
Yeah, I did see that. And yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing is I don't really know. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do about it because they did the whole thing where Regal was brought to Regal's attention that Black was unconscious out in the parking lot, and he went out there and he was like, oh, we need to get some help, but there was never anything after that. It was just, oh, get this man some help, and that was it.
So do you think next week then on the Go Home Show we'll have like a kind of like piped in filmed Regal segment where he kind of gives like a live, not necessarily like a live update, but you get what I mean. Like an update
yeah, probably, right? Probably.
Yeah. I'll be very curious how NXT decides to play this because again, I'd have no qualms with them going the Ciampa Gargano route. I'd prefer if we got to keep our triple threat, but obviously, it's not Aleister Black's fault. This shit happens. So yeah, I'll be curious what they want to do with the cards they've been dealt. I'm curious what you guys in chat think. Are you more with me that they should find a substitute for the triple threat? Do you think they should just go straight up with the one-on-one match? So talk to us, guys, as we begin to wrap the show up. Is there anything else you want to say about the main event segment and its implications?
I don't think so, man. No, I think we can move on.
All right, guys. Well, before we get to our final segment of high spots and low shots, I just want to do our plugs that we do every show. First off, follow TWitWoW on all of our social media. Visit our Facebook page. Give that Facebook page a like. Follow Ashton and myself on Twitter. My pinned tweet is to collect Q&A questions. Q&A is August 30th this month. It's the last Thursday of every month. It happens to fall on the 30th this month. So you've got 3 weeks now to submit your Q&A questions. If Twitter isn't your medium to do it, you also have the TWitWoW Facebook page. You can inbox us. YouTube, you can comment on this video with your questions when it's done processing, or you can ask your Q&A questions in Discord, a point I'll return to later. But yeah, with Twitter, you can respond to my pin tweet, or you can DM me. Everybody's permitted up to 4 questions per Q&A, and you can divide up the questions however you want. Ashton's pin tweet is the TWitWoW schedule. That is pretty much all of our recordings for the month. And it has been a very busy summer for TWitWoW, and we're going to be busy going into the fall. So you're going to want to keep your finger on the pulse of everything that we're doing. The best way to do that is to just keep yourself posted on Ashton's pin tweet, the TWitWoW schedule, because all the stuff is there. All the times we record and everything we're doing. All right there. So beyond that, we have a Teespring store with all kinds of merch. We have everything from TWitWoW exclusive merch. You know, I'm a TWitWoW guy and I'm a TWitWoW girl because we're all about that gender equality, to wrestler-specific merch, such as LIJ with the Tranquilo shirt and an Emma Real Face of the Women's Revolution shirt. So be sure to check out our Teespring and all of our merchandise offerings. And finally, the Patreon. Now, things have changed on the Patreon. Our goal is still $120 a month, but that goal is no longer being geared towards Progress Live reactions. Those have been shelved for the foreseeable future. What we are now doing, if we get to $120 a month, is SmackDown Live and 205 live reactions. If we don't hit 120, but we manage to stay at $80 or above, we will just do live reactions to SmackDown Live for the month. And if we manage to fall to $40, but just below 80, we'll do 205 live reactions. But ideally, of course, we would just bundle the two. That's where the $120 tier comes in. And we did achieve that this month. So thank you to all of our wonderful patrons that made that happen. But if you would like to see that continue to happen into September, into when we get into the fall months, the best way that you can contribute is by joining the Discord. It's only $3 a month. It's a great community. We talk about everything from wrestling, obviously, movies to music to games. We have a not suitable for work tab and really just a Game of Thrones tab for spoilers and stuff. So a lot of stuff's going to be going down. Obviously, you're going to want to join the Discord, for next month, because it's going to be Mae Young Classic and all this other cool shit going down. So yeah, guys, get in on the Discord if you haven't already. And what I also love about the Discord, for those who join it, if you maintain your membership, that eventually translates into content control. I always like to say on here that if you stay on the Discord for 10 months, $3 a month, that comes out to $30. You can cash that in for a live reaction to a 3-hour show. We've done Patreon requests on the channel. You can go and watch one and really get a vibe for how we conduct ourselves with that. I think they're always a lot of fun. You guys are very creative with what you pick for us to consume. And the donations mean a lot to us and Team TWitWoW for our projects going forward. So, with all of those plugs given, let us move on to high spots and low shots. And I'm going to say my low shot tonight is Ricochet, because you were advertised to compete and yet you got laid out on your ass, son. Knocked out, courtesy of Adam Cole, baby. So Ricochet is my low shot. Who's your low shot, Ashton?
Well, sadly, I can't give my low shot to Tainara, because even though she had the worst performance of the night, she at least won her match. I can't give my low shot to Vanessa, because I thought that she actually had a good performance despite losing her match. I can't give my low shot to Nikki Cross, because, again, she won her match. And really, it all kind of comes down to, even though I thought he was solid, I got to give my low shot to Adrian Jaoude, or Jaoud, I guess it was, because out of the people that lost their matches, he was probably the person that has the least impressive, or least kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The least promising future, because I love Amber Nova. I want to see more things from her. Marcel Barthel is going to be amazing. I think Vanessa Bourne has a bright future. And, there was no winner to the last match. So I just got to go with, Adrian Jaoud.
That makes sense to me, man. As far as high spot goes, oh, man. You know what? No. Actually, yeah. You know what? I'll give my high spot to Johnny Gargano, because he got what he wanted tonight. He got a chance to get back in the ring with Tommaso Ciampa, which he's been itching for. And really, if we're being honest, he didn't do anything discernible to really earn it other than meddle in other people's business. So I think for Regal, it's more to pacify Gargano rather than to reward him. But hey, different means, same destination. You know what I'm saying? So Gargano's my high spot.
All right, man. Well, you got your high spots, and I think my high spot, I guess I'll take the easy way out. I'm going to give my high spot to Keith Lee. He showed up after literally 1 week of hype. They literally just announced last week, hey, Keith Lee, or it might have been 2 weeks ago. They might have said Keith Lee in 2 weeks. The only other time that we had seen him was in the crowd at TakeOver Chicago, I want to say. And he shows up and instantly everyone loves him. Has a great match with a debuting heel that I also really enjoyed. But yeah, man, Keith Lee is my high spot. Keith Lee had a great match. Keith Lee is going to have a very bright future in WWE. And quite frankly, I can't wait to see more from him. And even if his next match is going to be against, his next feud is going to be against Lars Sullivan, I'm looking forward to that because then we get Lucha Keith Lee.
Yeah, that's a great point, man.
We can call him Keith Luchador.
Oh, shit. All right, man. I think that's a great choice. Any concluding remarks about NXT tonight?
No, sir.
All right, guys, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my core and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment on this video when it's done processing. What did you think of Marcel Bartel and Keith Lee's debuts? Who were you more impressed by? Who do you think has the higher ceiling? Talk to us. And yeah, be sure to comment on the video when it's done processing. You're gonna have to wait a little bit, but be sure to let me know about that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and get nice and cozy with your new favorite wrestling podcast. Be sure to click the bell icon for notifications if you're somebody that's prone to missing our content because you're not on Twitter. I try and mass tag everybody I can, but if you're not on social media, my hands are kind of tied. So the best thing you could do for yourself is to click the bell icon, get notifications for whenever we go live with anything at all, and you never miss any of that TwitWoW goodness. And be sure to like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. And guys, with that said, tomorrow is going to be a fun day because we are back on that G1 action. It's day 16. And Ashton, would you mind telling us, if you have it available on hand, what the main event for day 16 is?
The main event for day 16 is Naito Sonata.
Oh, dear sweet mother of God. LIJ implosion, baby.
And I will also add that we've also got Yano Omega. So we're talking like comedy match of the year right there.
Oh, well, we'll see if my out there prediction, I mean, not formally when we did the rundown, but when I was thinking about it more, I did switch my pick to Yano beating Omega in an upset, and I know Paul and James agreed with me on that. So, yeah, day 16, guys, going to be a lot of revelations. The race to the G1 Climax 28 final continues, and sometimes you have to cut through friendship to get there. And hell, not even just friendship, but brotherhood. It's Naito. It's Sonata. Who will keep their tranquilo? And can Naito keep his place in the race for G1 Climax 28? Get all your best coverage of the G1 here at TwitWoW. And until tomorrow, guys, which, by the way, that will be going live at 4 p.m. EDT. Tune in and peace out.